Hello, and welcome to Storytime for kindergarten through second grade. My name is Miss Natalie from the Hardin County Public Library. Today, we're talking about families and rocks and how we can combine the two in a craft. So let's start to talk about families. There are different kinds of families. You have small families, big families. You have families with two moms or two dads, or you have stepmoms, stepdads. What does your family look like? My family is just me, my husband, and our dog. Today I'm going to read 3 stories to you. The first one is A Family is a Family is a Family by Sarah O'Leary and illustrated by Kim Lang. The second one is Families, Families, Families by Suzanne Lang and Max Lang. And the last one is If You Find a Rock by Peggy Christian and photographs by Barbara Hirsch-Lember. The first story is A Family is a Family is a Family by Sarah O'Leary and illustrated by Kim Lang. We were talking about families at school. The teacher asked us what we thought made our family special. I went last because I wasn't sure what to say. My family is not like everybody else's. My mom and dad have been best friends since first grade. They really like each other. It's kind of gross. There are a lot of kids in our family. Mom and dad just keep coming home with more. Both my moms are terrible singers, and they both like to sing really loud. I have more grandparents than anybody else I know. We have a new baby in our house. I think my mom ordered him online. We all look alike in my family. We just kind of go together. One week mom gets me. The next week dad does. Fair is fair. Some people say I look like my dad, and some people say I look like my mom. I think I look like myself. My mom says that before I was born, I grew in her heart. Because I live with my grandmother, people sometimes think she's my mother. But she's not. She's my everything. Some of the kids were dads when he met mom. Some were moms when she met dad. Now we all belong to each other. One of my dads is tall and one is short, but they both give good hugs. I listen to everybody else, and then I remember the time someone saw us all together at the park. She asked my foster mother to point out her real children. Oh, I don't have any imaginary children, Mom said. All my children are real. A family is a family is a family. Families, Families, Families by Suzanne and Max Lang. Some children have lots of siblings. Do you have a lot of siblings? I have 3. Some children have none. Some children have 2 dads and some have 1 mom. Some children live with their grandparents and some live with an aunt. Some children have many pets, and some just have a plant. Some children live with their father, and some children have two mothers. Some children are adopted, and some have stepsisters and stepbrothers. Some children bunk with their cousins, and some have a mom and a pop. Some children's parents are married, and some children's parents are not. So, no matter if you have a ma, a pa, a hog, this llama, 10 frogs and a slug, a cousin named Doug, a great-grandma Betty, and a great-aunt Sue, Uncles Hal, Al, and Sal, and Uncle Lou too, 1 stepsis, 3 stepbros, 2 stepmoms, and a prize-winning Rose, a robot butler to serve you tea, the world's biggest grandpa, or whatever it might be. If you love each other, then you are a family. If You Find a Rock by Peggy Christians and photographs by Barbara Hirsch Lember. If you find a rock, a nice flat rounded rock that sits just right in the crook of your finger, then you have a skipping rock. You toss it out in the water just so and see it trip across the surface, making a chain of spreading rings. Maybe you find a soft white rock, a rock that feels dusty in your fingers. Then you have a chalk rock, and you use it to make pictures on the pavement. Or you might find a big mossy rock by the side of a long steep trail. Then you have a resting rock, and as you sit down you feel the cool moss squish beneath you. Then again, you might find a rock with a stripe running all the way around it. Trace the line with your finger. It must circle all the way. You have a wishing rock, and you whisper what you want before you throw it. If you find a rock, a big rock, by the edge of the water, then you have found a splashing rock. When it hits the surface, the water jumps out of the way, raining back down on your outstretched hands. The bigger the rock, the wetter you get. Maybe you find a pile of small rounded pebbles. Then you have found sifting rocks, and you can scoop up a handful and let them slide slowly through your fingers. Or you might find a rock whose water-smoothed surface catches your eye. If it feels easy in your hand when you rub it, then you have found a worry rock. You rub it between your fingers and your troubles are smoothed away. Then again, you might find a rock sitting in a grassy field. Push it over. You have found a hiding rock, and in the cool, dark underside live all kinds of things that creep and crawl and hide out of sight. If you find a rock, a great rock that towers over you, then you have found a climbing rock. Hold on with your toes and fingers. Grip as hard as you stretch up and pull until you reach the top, where you feel much grander than you did on the ground. Maybe you will find a twisting line of rocks sticking up out of a creek. Then you have found crossing rocks, which wait to meet your feet as you pass over the water, rushing away all around you. Or you might find a rock with a print of something else, a leaf or a shell. Then you have found a fossil rock, and you feel the shape of something that lived long, long ago when the rock was young. Then again, you could find a small rounded rock right in front of your toe as you go down the sidewalk. You have found a walking rock, and you kick it ahead of you and let it lead you home. If you find a rock that's not a skipping rock, or a chalk rock, or a resting rock, or a wishing rock, that's not a splashing rock, or a sifting rock, or a worry rock, or a hiding rock, that's not even a climbing rock, or a crossing rock, or a fossil rock, or a walking rock, but you like it anyway because it reminds you of a place, or a feeling, or someone important, then you have found a memory rock. And sometimes those are the best rocks of all. Now it's time for crafting. We are going to make a portrait of our family out of rocks. You can also use other materials like cardboard, bark, branches, leaves, whatever you find outside. This is your family portrait, so you decide how you want to work. You can just form your family out of rocks, or you can paint them on rocks. I wonder what your family is going to look like. I'm going to show you how I'm going to create a family portrait of my little family. So first I'm going to start by picking out rocks. I found a bunch outside and I washed them. And remember, my family is my husband, me, and our dog Rocky. So I picked out 3 bigger rocks for our bodies and smaller ones for our heads. Next, I'm going to decide what I'm going to work on. I picked out some cardboard, but you can also work on a piece of bark, like this one. Regular paper might not be strong enough to hold up a rock, so I would pick something firmer like cardboard. But I don't like how the cardboard looks. I don't want it to look brown. So I'm going to take some magazines and I'm going to cover it up. Before you start decorating your background, make sure that it is big enough to hold all members of your family. After that, you can begin decorating. I'm going to fold mine over the edge so the edge will not be visible. To glue your rocks on your background, you can use either Elmer's glue or you can use hot glue, but ask an adult for help if you're going to use hot glue, because I do not want you to burn your fingers. So I'm going to use school glue, and I collected some twigs. I got some bark. So I'm going to start with putting my figures and seeing how I want them. Okay. So Rocky likes to catch balls. He loves running after balls. So I'm going to find something that I can. Oops, I got more rocks that I can use as a ball and make it seem like he's chasing a ball. Ooh, I know, a marble. Okay, let's see. Which one do we want to use? Red. Okay. Make sure you use enough glue and don't pick it up until it's dry. Okay. I want to make Rocky's ears. What am I going to make them out of? Yarn. So I'm making Rocky's ears out of yarn. I put them in the glue and I shape them the way I wanted to. Some other things you can do is make like a kite in the air or a balloon, or you can make a heart shape and put that in between. And now I'm going to make the edge. Make sure your sticks are as flat as possible. You may have to turn them around. So this is my family portrait. I hope you enjoyed our craft time and I look forward to seeing your family portrait. You can share it on our Facebook page. See you next week.